Hello, I'd like to show you Nature Study Junk Journal. I made this using an old encyclopedia. The front used to look like this, and I put a lovely picture on the front from a gift book. She's looking at some drawings. Looks like she does a lot of art. And I noticed there was a leaf on the floor, and there's her portfolio. And I suspect that she draws art a lot. And looking at those windows and seeing the nature pictures, I suspect she lives in a country cottage. I included a spine tassel, sewed a vintage button on, and covered up the 3 signature stitching with some lace. So I wanted this journal to be pretty, but also a little on the rustic side. Because, I think you can be a nature lover and study nature and still like some of the fine things in life too. So this here paper and this here, these are actually envelopes that I tea dyed, and then I used some brads to attach them together, and then this is glued onto the book. And this lace here I think is vintage lace. This looks vintage, and the ribbon might actually be, I can't remember which roll I got off of, but I gave it the aged look by tea dyeing it and just roughing it up because I wanted this to look like a cherished book. And to tell you the truth, it already is cherished. I fell in love with it while I was working on it, and I want to make some more similar to it. Then you have to let me know what you think. See, what are her measurements? 6.5 wide, 9.5 tall, and her spine is 1 3/4. She's a little heavier than my usual journals because of the hardcover. And she springs up a little bit when I untie this. I really tried not to make this one too thick, but as you can see, I failed. But when you look inside, you'll understand why. Because the things that I added in here just needed to be in here. So a touch of feminine with some, more kind of nature colors. This was a button, and I cut the shank off so that it wouldn't be too thick. Gathered some ribbon around it, some lace, tea-dyed papers inside. Not too many, because I know I journal and I get bored if I have to spend too much time in one thing in the book or on one page. I enjoy variety in my journaling. We've got a card here I thought goes with the front picture too, and it's made in England. Lots of writing space there. I included as much writing space as possible because there's quite a few pages where there's photos, pictures from books, and so to make up for the loss of writing space on some of the pages, I've added extra in pockets and things as well. I think I have something in here. Oh yes, I do. This is also, I think, made in England. Yeah. And some writing space inside. It's been tea dyed. And I'm thinking, she's an independent looking lady, like the lady on the front. Not saying that she won't ever say yes to a fellow, but she does love her life. There's a butterfly from a butterfly book. And this paper here, oh, I love, love, love this. Nice and sturdy. And what it is, and I can't remember if it's from a sugar bag or a flour bag, but I take the bags apart when they're empty, and then I tea dye the plain paper that's inside them because it's nice and sturdy and it just soaks up the tea dye really nicely. Little vellum sticker there. And this is from a nature book. Sewed it onto a card for a journal card. There's a postcard. Came from a kit of wildflowers from Alaska. There's a little quote on there. This is a nice journal tag, lots of room for writing on the back that I made from a calendar page. Here's a spot you can write your name. Made this into a pocket rather than gluing it on. Writing space on this tag. And this owl is a tea-dyed copy of a picture that I took from, can't remember, I took that from upstairs or from downstairs, but it was an owl that was looking in my window one morning. And I'm glad that the picture doesn't show what he's holding. He was holding his breakfast, and we won't talk about that. But anyways, it was an interesting morning. It's got lots of pictures of him. This is from I think a gift book. And vintage lace. My gift book. It's the other side. Lots of journaling space on that tag. Some vellum. Got this from, it was in a book of stuff I got at the thrift store, and I tea-dyed it. And journaling card here. Envelope made into a flip with some writing space inside. And then behind it is some hidden writing space, some pages from a book. I left the numbers on for interest's sake. Really nice quality paper. And a little journal card inside there. Little tuck spot there with some journaling paper, tea-dyed. I think that, no, I thought it had a book page number, but it doesn't. This was stationery that I tea-dyed. This is a magazine picture that I put onto some tea-dyed paper for writing. It's a little journal card I made from a picture from a gift book. And this was from a journal, a bird lover's journal. I thought it went perfect in here. This little nature study book. These are butterflies that I did, and I tea-dyed the copy of my butterflies. And this is from a really interesting little nature book, garden book. Lots of room to write around it. There's a snippet roll I added for interest and to create a tuck spot here. As you can see, you can't really write on this page, but it's interesting. It just gives that warm kind of nature-loving look to it. This here is a tea-dyed copy I took of a picture of a really old tablecloth. I don't know how old it is, but oh, I'm tempted to use it for a journal. But in the meantime, I took pictures of it because I haven't decided yet. Just love the pictures that are on it. It's what do you call this? Applique. And very fine little stitching too all around the edges of it. A little tuck spot here, a little tag, little writing card here made out of a greeting card. And this is tea-dyed copy of a watercolor that I did from a photograph. I just love these oxalis. They grow in my garden every spring. I have a couple of different kinds, smaller leaved that have little white flowers, and then the larger ones have larger leaves, they have pink flowers. And a little poem that I wrote, a little micro poem. A couple of vintage postcards. Somebody wrote on here, I don't know who would have written that. That's vintage. And love the dog in this one. Somebody down by the water. And that's from England. And this I did with leaves and some, I don't know if it was watercolored that I did it with, or ink colored water, but anyways, that's an original. And it's light enough that you can still journal on it. Sometimes what I do when I have a page like this is I'll journal on the leaves, and as if following it like a pattern, so it almost looks like a bunch of poetry. Here's a little card I made using one of my hydrangea flowers and one of our ferns. It's a really lovely fern that grows along our driveway. There's just one, but it's quite big now. And Queen Anne's lace. Made it into a journal card. Sewed around the edges. Oh, I could press a lot more flowers than I do. Quite a few in the spring, but sometimes I just want to enjoy my garden. I don't always want to think about what I can make out of things. There's a little quote there. It's a leftover paper for interest. This is one of those cards that I got, quite a few of them, at the thrift store recently. And it's made, where were they printed in? In the UK. Lovely, they're blank inside. I didn't do anything to them, but they look like they're vintage, so I just left them as they are. This little tag that I made. Little tuck spot that's got several spots to tuck things in. I made out of a book page, this here, from a book about trees. And there's a tuck spot in the very back as well. That's from a magazine, Mushrooms. There's no purchased digitals used in this journal. There's just things like this that I printed out myself because I scanned a doily that I had. And I like the color of it, and I thought it would make a nice background. And this is a interesting postcard from the UK, and it's in commemoration of the stamp that was issued in 1983. This is from a greeting card. Got quite a few of these that day at the thrift store. It was in a thrift store in another town. It wasn't our local one. Journaling card there and some stamping. Some more of that vellum. And another tag there that you can write on the front and the back. This is from a gift book. Done a lot of flower drying in my time. Used to make wreaths out of dried flowers and leaves and things. I used to grow some of the everlasting flowers. And there's a postcard. I think this is also from the UK. There's a little cluster I made out of scraps and a needle button, and looks like mother of pearl bead or abalone. I'm not sure which, but looks like shell anyhow. And here's one of those cards I was saying that I got that day. I think it's already vintage, so I'm not gonna do anything to it. And this is a postcard. Where's it one from? There's New Mexico on it. Edith Holden. Put some washi tape on to strengthen where the page was folded. Right now our mountain ash berries are, I think they're pretty much ripe. No birds on it right now. I can see it out my window here, but sometimes it's just a racket of fun out there. They're eating the berries. It gets messy underneath because they don't keep all the berries. I understand. My blueberry patch made a lot of blueberries this year. We haven't been able to keep up with it, but I've noticed the chickadees are enjoying them too. This is from a gift book. This is more vintage lace. Same with this here. Tea-dyed paper from a journal. Stationery that I tea-dyed as well. Tea-dyed paper. I think it's just copy paper, but I also crumpled it up so it's got a neat texture to it and a neat look. And this this is a scan of one that I did. Ferns and leaves, ivy. I don't remember what leaf that is, from my garden. And I used coffee. So what I did is I put, I sprayed the leaves with coffee, and then I pressed the paper over top. Wrapping paper. It's tea dye, but I thought it went perfect with the theme. And there's some more of that tablecloth. So it had a cup and saucer in one corner, creamer on another, sugar bowl on another, and the teapot in the other. I don't have them all in this journal. There's a postcard here. A little bit of vintage lace there. I cut a piece off. And a little journal tag I made out of a picture from Encyclopedia, vintage one. And that's hand-dyed paper of mine. And instead of using what I usually use, the fabric tags, I just loved the look of this, how old it looked. And it was in my scrap box because I guess when I cut it off, or whatever I cut it off of these pieces, I knew that I would eventually use it, and I was right. I did. And there's a vintage button on it. And this is not the original. This is a scan, but it's been tea-dyed of one of my, I don't know what to call it, leaf presses. It's where I, as I was saying, I spray with coffee, and then I press a piece of paper over top to dye the paper. And then I end up with two. I have the, the reverse as well. And this is 1965 music paper that I was able to fit in my printer and print out some of my butterfly sketches. So that's one of the corners of it. And on this side I created a tuck out of the fabric that I flipped over the top. Made a little, journaling papers. And I like the look, if you have a piece of paper and it gets torn, then you just glue another piece. This was a piece from my scraps paper to reinforce it. I like that look. And this is a snippet roll that I made for tuck spot with some hand-dyed paper to be kept. This is room for other things as well. And I know that's handmade paper. I think it was paper that my daughter made, and this is really old cotton. And that's a piece of from when I took apart the original lining in here. And what else do we have in here? Vintage lace. There's another one where I've scanned. Yeah, this is one where I've scanned some of my printing with leaves and coffee. Oh, and this one I did this with a doily and coffee. Stationery, that's from that journal, and that's like from the gift book. And I thought this mustardy yellow looked great with these flowers. That's vintage from a package that I got on the garage sale. A whole bunch of different laces. I'm just loving them. And this, I think, oh yeah, there was a tear in here, so I put a piece of washi tape on there, and it really adds to it. Sometimes, sometimes tears and scars and things can become art. A postcard here. A magazine picture there, little tag there. This was fun to make. I almost didn't put it in here because I wasn't sure that I liked it, but then I worked on it a bit more, and now I think it's darling because it's got that totally handmade look. So what you can do under here, you can write something, because there's a brad here, and this was from that bird journal that I mentioned. It looks like I drew it because it's pencil. It looks like pencil, but it's actually from a journal. Some lace on here, and then on the inside tea-dyed paper, and I think it looks like it's belongs in a nature study book, like something she might have slipped in that little portfolio she has. And this looks like a handmade card, and this is made in the UK. I tea-dyed it carefully, and oh, I just love it. This was from a greeting card, I think. Yeah. And I tea-dyed it. Some more of that vintage lace. Edith Holden. Or wait, no, that's not Edith Holden. This is from Wildflowers, the illustrated book of Wildflowers. A little flip here, an old map, really old. And I made a journal card from a picture that was in a art sort of gift book. So there's the artist's name there. Little tuck spot here, just some writing paper made out of an index card, some stamping. This was a magazine picture. I tea-dyed it and backed it onto some tea-dyed paper. This is one of my sketches I did, and I don't even remember. I would have the photograph somewhere. Actually, no, I think this is one of the ones where I brought it in from the house. I remember that, yeah. I brought a piece. I think this is laurel, but I can't remember for sure if it is, because it does get berries on it. Or it could be this other bush that we have. Anyways, I remember bringing it in because when you draw something from the actual thing rather than a photograph, you notice the details more and you can do the lighting better. So I'm pretty sure that was one of those ones. But it's a scan and a tea dye of it. And here we have another card from UK. That went with the vibe of this book. Here's some interesting paper from an envelope that I tea-dyed. It was interesting already. And there's a scan of one of my watercolors of Morning Glory, those blue Morning Glories. Oh, I love them. It was not in my own garden though, it was from a public garden that we like to go to. I made this into journaling space. I just sewed on some lace and a picture that I cut out from the butterfly book. And this here, made this pocket out of part of a flower book, wildflower book. And here there's that same artist gift book that I used to make some journal cards out of. And this is a postcard from Harlequin. And that's paper from that same book that I got that vellum from. This almost has a waxy feel to it. All I did was tea dye it. And that's a little scan of one of my fun little watercolors. And this is a snippet here with a vintage button on it to create a tuck spot for journaling. And this here, what I started doing is when I do stamping, to clean off my stamps, I've been stamping on a piece of paper. And then what I do is when the paper's all filled up, I tea dye it to create some background paper. And there's one from that lady's book. And this is a book, has different carpets in it. Antique carpets. Oh, and there's the teapot. Yeah, that is so cute. So I did include all four. I couldn't remember. And that's not the best looking chickadee in the world, but you know, I did draw that. There's snow on the boughs. We get them here a lot on our trees. We have a lot of trees. Queen Anne's lace, I don't remember what that's called. And some daisy made into a journal card. It's from our property. Looks like vintage mother of pearl button. And there's another sketch I did, and this flower was growing also in a public garden. So I did this watercolor pencil one from a photograph and then tea dyed it. So it's a scan of the original one that I did. And here we've got some mushrooms with some mushroom journal cards as well. And that's also from that artist. Envelope made from handmade paper that I got from the thrift store, and with some tea dyed paper inside. More journaling space. So I had to leave some pages blank to make up for all of the pages that don't have writing space. Butterfly from the butterfly book, and a card from the stash that I got of UK cards. It's blank inside. I love the colors in this. It goes with the page. And here we've got a picture from a calendar with a little mini book made from a tally card, tea-dyed paper inside. Old Hallmark one. Table games. And that's got that waxy feel, and that all I did was just tea dye it, so it came that way. And the little book I got from the thrift store. Here, I'm pretty sure it's safe to take these out, because I glued these. I didn't trust just the adhesive that was on them. And you can journal on the back of it, and it also creates a tuck spot. And this is paper that's made partly from coffee, and they obviously coffee stained it too. It's from a notebook my husband gave me, and that's from a gift book, fussy cut out. This is fussy cut out of a herb book. So writing space here and here. And this, how I did that was I crumpled up paper, then I uncrumpled it, and then I rubbed it gently with a cloth that had been dipped in coffee. That's how you get that look. It's been a while since I've done some of those. And this says just a little note, and it's some tea-dyed paper, and it's blank on the back as well for journaling. This side, I wanted to leave it so that you could see the pictures on both sides, so I made it into a flip. And this is an envelope that I tea-dyed, and it's also made into a flip, and it has a little journal card in here from that artist's book. And this side is a tuck spot for a scan of one of my little watercolors that I've tea-dyed. And this makes me think of the lady at the front. That's her and her little brother and her dad or grandfather reading to her when she was little, and that's helped probably inspire her love of study. And in this case, in this book, she studies nature. So this is a vintage book page, and actually it's over 100 years old, so it's antique book page, some tea bag over top to hold this magazine picture on there, and then tea-dyed on the back for journaling. Vintage map, and here is a spot for journaling. That's paper that I dyed with, I think it was blueberries and blackberry, and this is a little spot here to journal too. And this is a faux envelope held on by a paper clip with a interesting button, and it has a faux wax seal on the back that I made out of glue. And this opens up, this envelope actually just opens right up and you can journal in it. And here's a tuck spot as well for this little thing too for journaling. And here I created a whole bunch of journaling space because I can't really use this paper otherwise, this page. So it's got something tucked into each envelope, and then when you open it up, flip it up, it's got something tucked in there for journaling on, journal there or there. Same with down here. On this page, I turned a greeting card into a journal card. Little tag there for writing on with some vintage seam binding. And here's one of those cards from those UK ones that I was saying that I got a whole bunch of them. Just left it as is. Here's a little journal card made from a greeting card, and this opens up and there's lots and lots of writing space in it. I tea-dyed that as well, stationery. And here there's 3 vintage playing cards. I think they're all nature theme. And in this spot here we have a piece of tea-dyed stationery that goes with the theme as well. Yeah, with this book, I didn't like what the lining was inside of it. It was really, it was just ugly. And so what I did is I put my own tea-dyed paper. And of course you can see there's some fabric that's been tea dyed that's been glued on as well to create pockets and a button there. And here as well. There was one other little thing. Oh, I know, I did it in a different journal. I was thinking I had this really messy little swirl of thread, but I remember now it's on the one I was working on yesterday, my Sunday journal. Because I'd chickened out of putting it on a journal that was for sale. That's a fun thing about my Sunday journals, is that I will do the sillier things, or the things that I think that, oh, maybe no one will like that. Or things that didn't turn out right. I'll put them in my own journal because I'm not going to be offended by it, because, yeah, everybody makes mistakes. So, I'm not sure when I'll get this one into my shop, because as I'm filming this, it is now, yeah, it's lunchtime, and I don't do well if I don't eat lunch on time. I have some leftover salad from yesterday and a cup of tea. Thanks for watching. I hope I inspired you to look at some of the odds and ends in your paper stash in a different way, and to take little chances and have fun with it. And I hope I've also inspired you to notice nature outside more too. I find it so healing to get outside, so restful, no matter what's going on in your life, whether it's super happy stuff or super sad or just mundane. Getting outside just freshens up your perspective. Take care and see you next time. Bye.